I first met Dean not long after my wife and I split up. I'd just gotten over a serious illness that I won't bother to talk about, except that it had something to do with the miserably weary split-up and my feeling that everything was dead. With the coming of Dean Moriarty began the part of my life you could call my life on the road. Before that, I'd often dreamed of going west to see the country, always vaguely planning and never taking off. Dean is the perfect guy for the road because he actually was born on the road, when his parents were passing through Salt Lake City in 1926 in a jalopy on their way to Los Angeles. First reports of him came to me through Chad King, who'd shown me a few letters from him written in a New Mexico reform school. I was tremendously interested in the letters because they so naively and sweetly asked Chad to teach him all about Nietzsche and all the wonderful intellectual things that Chad knew. At one point, Carlo and I talked about the letters and wondered if we'd ever meet the strange Dean Moriarty. This is all far back when Dean was not the way he is today, when he was a young jail kid shrouded in mystery. Then news came that Dean was out of reform school and was coming to New York for the first time. Also, there was talk that he'd just married a girl called Mary Lou. One day I was hanging around the campus, and Chad and Tim Gray told me Dean was staying in the Cold War pad in East Harlem, the Spanish Harlem. Dean had arrived the night before, the first time in New York, with his beautiful little sharp chick Mary Lou. They got off the Greyhound bus at 50th Street and cut around the corner looking for a place to eat, and right in Hector's. And since then, Hector's cafeteria has always been a big symbol of New York for Dean. He spent money on beautiful big glazed cakes and cream puffs. All this time, Dean was telling Mary Lou things like this. Now, darling, here we are in New York, and although I haven't quite told you everything that I was thinking about when we crossed Missouri, and especially at the point when we passed the Boonville Reformatory, which reminded me of my jail problem, it is absolutely necessary now to postpone all those leftover things concerning our personal love things, and at once begin thinking of specific work-life plans. And so on in the way that he had me. I went to the cold water flat with the boys, and Dean came to the door in shorts. Mary Lou was jumping off the couch. Dean had dispatched the occupant of the apartment to the kitchen, probably to make coffee, while he proceeded with his love problems. For to him, sex was the one and only holy and important thing in life, although he had to sweat and curse to make a living and so on. You saw that in the way he stood bobbing his head, always looking down, nodding, like a young boxer to instructions. Make you think he was listening to every word, throwing in 1,000 yeses, that's right. My first impression of Dean was of a young Gene Autry, trim, thin-hipped, blue-eyed, with a real Oklahoma accent, a sideburns hero of the snowy West. In fact, he'd just been working on a ranch, Head Walls in Colorado, before marrying Mary Lou and coming east. Mary Lou was a pretty blonde with immense ringlets of hair, like a sea of golden tresses. She sat there on the edge of the couch with her hands hanging in her lap, and her smoky blue country eyes fixed in a wide stare, because she was in an evil gray New York bag that she'd heard about back west. And waiting like a long-bodied, emaciated Modigliani surrealist woman in a serious room. But outside of being a sweet little girl, she was awfully dumb and capable of doing horrible things. That night we all drank beer and pulled wrists and talked till dawn. And in the morning, while we sat around dumbly smoking butts from ashtrays in the gray light of a gloomy day, Dean got up nervously, paced around thinking, and decided the thing to do was to have Mary Lou make breakfast and sweep the floor. In other words, we got to get on the ball, darling. What I'm saying, otherwise, it'll be fluctuating lack of true knowledge or crystallization of our plans. During the following week, he confided in Chad King that he absolutely had to learn how to write. Chad said I was a writer and he should come to me for advice. Meanwhile, Dean had gotten a job in the parking lot. Had a fight with Mary Lou in that Hoboken apartment. God knows why we went there. And she was so mad and so down deep vindictive that she reported to the police some false, trumped-up, hysterical, crazy charge. And Dean had to land from Hoboken. So he had no place to live. He came right out to Patterson, New Jersey, where I was living with my aunt. And one night while I was studying, there was a knock on the door. And there was Dean, bowing, shuffling obsequiously in the dark of the hall, saying, "Hello, you know me? Dean Moriarty. I've come to ask you to show me how to write." "And where's Mary Lou?" I asked. And Dean said she'd apparently hoarded a few dollars together and gone back to Denver. The whore. So we went out to have a few beers because we couldn't talk like we wanted to talk in front of my aunt. We sat in the living room reading the paper. She took one look at Dean and decided that he was a madman. In the bar, I told Dean, "Oh man, I know very well you didn't come to me only to want to become a writer. And after all, what do I really know about it, except that you've got to stick to it with the energy of a maniac?" "Yes, of course, I know exactly what you mean. In fact, all those problems have occurred to me. But the thing that I want is the realization of those factors that should one depend on Schopenhauer's dichotomy for any inwardly realizing." And so on. Things I understood not that he himself did. In those days, he really didn't know what he was talking about. That is to say, he was a young job kid, wrapping up on the wonderful possibilities of becoming a real intellectual. And he liked to talk in the tone and using the words, but in a jumbled way that he'd heard from real intellectuals. Although, mind you, he wasn't so naive as that and all other things. And it took him just a few months with Karl Marx to become completely in there with all the terms and jargon. Nonetheless, we understood each other on other levels of madness. And I agreed that he could stay at my house till he found a job. And furthermore, we agreed to go out west sometime. That was the winter of 1947. One night when Dean ate supper at my house, he already had the parking lot job in New York, he leaned over my shoulder as I typed rapidly away and said, "Come on, man, those girls won't wait. Make it fast." I said, "Hold on just a minute. I'll be right with you as soon as I finish this chapter." And it was one of the best chapters in the book. Then I dressed and off we flew to New York to meet some girls. As we rode in the bus in the weird phosphorescent void of the Lincoln Tunnel, we leaned on each other with fingers waving and yelled and talked excitedly. And I was beginning to get the bug like Dean. He was simply a youth tremendously excited with life. And though he was a con man, he was only conning because he wanted so much to live and to get involved with people who would otherwise pay no attention to him.